the circle, do you want to complete the square? It's easier to check that way if you complete the square, or just plug the numbers into the equation you find and don't go through all those troubles. So again, we set this up to your y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. Don't forget the y. Gather it all up, condense them all back down here, and then see where you go from there. It's nice when one of them cancels out. So cancel out the c, and then you can combine these guys and eliminate a or b, whichever one you prefer. They're both in kind of the same situation there. You're going to have to multiply both of them anyway. So, no, one of them. So if you eliminate b, it's probably easier. But if you eliminated a, that's fine. Then back substitute in, and then again check. And you don't have to solve it this way. You can solve it whatever way you did it. That's why it's hard to kind of check your answers against mine, because you might not have took the same path. Questions? If there's any questions, we can always redo the problem. Or you can call me over, I can look at yours. Because sometimes it's so hard to catch your own mistake. I find that when you make a mistake in one of these, it's really best to have someone else look at it before you go crazy. Because in your mind, you say the same thing over and over again. I put the y in, I put the x in, and maybe you forgot the negative. Maybe you left out something so basic and you can't see it. You know, because in your mind you keep thinking the same thing. So call me over if you need any help. Good? These are not so bad. They're a little bit of work, but they're not that bad. Okay, again, this one will, once we get the C, we can put it in for C, and then we can condense these down. You can move the 3 to the other side first, make life easier. You can leave the 3 there. I left it there, but you can move it to the other side, make your life a lot easier. I would subtract 3 from both sides. And start like this, subtract 3. And start like that. Divide this guy by 2. Make life even easier. Find your A and back substitute. Questions? Everybody good? Okay. And this guy is still another parabola. Getting a little bit more difficult. We didn't eliminate any. We had to work 2 of them and then work 2 more. Try to keep your work as organized as possible, because that's where you're going to have to go back and check, and then you're going to have to make sense out of what you did. I tend to write mine 1, 2, 3, then call my little pieces A and B. Whatever you decide to do, just have some kind of a pattern that you follow. And then combine the other 2. And again, once you find A, back substitute it into one of them, find B, and then plug it back into one of the originals and find C. And I will scroll this down just a little bit so you can see that. Okay. Any questions at all? What'd you get?
Something way different than that.
Okay. So I need to put it in this format.
So you multiply by 2 and then something.
Does x squared have a part that goes with it? Does it have another x? All right, so let's group that together. This is where you're going to complete the square. Does the y?
No.
Okay. So what's half of negative 10? Negative 5, right? 5 squared? 25. So here's my y squared. Right now I'm just going to do this for a minute so that we can find the radius and the center from this. This is my r squared. So what's my center of my circle? 5, 0. And what's my radius? My radius is 5. So now if you're at the 5, 0 and you go out 5, you should be able to, if I bring that up, you should be able to find those points off of this. Because if you take a look at those points, that's what I'm saying, there's not a lot of points that are going to work out exactly here. 10, 0, that's if we go up 5, right? We go over 5. 5, 5, if we went up 5. 0, 0, if we went the other way. So that's easy to figure out. If here's my 5, 0, and I have to go up 5. Here's my 10, 0. Here's my 0, 5. It's going up 5. My 5, 5. And here's my 0, 0. You had a 0, 0, right? No. Yes, you had a 0, 0. So it's kind of easier to find them. You're not going to get all these little points in here. Usually don't work out too nicely. Every once in a while we hit an extra point, but usually they're going to be off your axis somewhere, off your translated axis. So that's nice to check it, or if you want to, just plug it back into this guy and make sure they work. Just eyeball them. You'll see that they work. Okay, this one. Again, don't forget that this is equal to 0. So we went from the 0, 0 to the 0, 6. If we go from, so watch this. If we go from the 0, 0 to the 0, 6, and we have a 3, 3, what's my radius of this circle? We went 0, 0, 0, 6, 3, 3. What's my radius of the circle? 3. My radius is 3. What's my center of the circle? 0, 3. So if you complete the square, that's what you should end up with. So really, they look worse, but until you just kind of put it in perspective, it falls right into place. So you can complete the square with that one. You can see the x is x squared. There's no other part, so that's the 0, right? And didn't we say 0, 3? What's half of negative 6? Negative 3. So it's going to say y minus 3, which comes out to be 3. So is it my center 0, 3? And my radius, then, if I square it, would be 9. Square root of 9, 3. Okay? Makes sense out of it. It really does make sense. It just looks bad. Okay, and let's just check this, and then I'll move it down. This one probably had the most work. This one was not one of those nice ones. So you had to work a lot of these. Normally we don't have a circle that has too many of these weird points, but this one did. So if you, God bless you, check your basics. Make sure you have your basic 3 first. Check those, because if those aren't right, then it's not going to work anyway. So check your basic ones, and then I'll move it. I can move it down, because there's your basic ones over there. Oops, that's still not going to reach. And there's your answer. And in this case, you would complete the squares for both. Okay. Questions at all?